This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Fanboys.
Hamburger. Welcome to the longest running weekly episodic comic book podcast in all
Place to Be Nation. I couldn't do it with a straight face today because I kept waiting for you to replace one of the fucking words with hamburger and me just to be disappointed and frustrated with you, Greg. So I apologize to our audience for the lack of cohesion on the catchphrase this week.
Of Place to Be Nation. Hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
speaking of things that we refer to every week, I want to go ahead and get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way.
Sure.
There's a policy change that I think people need to be aware of as it relates to our podcast.
Absolutely.
You have, on occasion, heard me to refer to people as having people with large noses or large nostrils. I have often referred to them as 1980s WWF wrestler nostrils. Heretofore, they will be referred to as 2017 Miami Dolphins assistant coach nostrils.
Go ahead.
That is the official policy
Laugh
change
it up.
that is being put
Laugh
in place
it up,
here
fuzzball.
For the Hard-Traveling Fanboys.
And you know what? He's already hit the bricks, Nick. No skin off my back. No skin off the nose of the cleanest franchise in the NFL, frankly.
Quite frankly, if Adam Gase had control over his program.
Well, maybe Jim McElwain or maybe Butch Jones be looking for a new job in Miami. But that's all just hearsay. You don't know that what he was snorting was cocaine, Nick.
I don't. Maybe it was powdered sugar.
It could have been confectionery sugar. You don't know. It could have been. I don't think we've even fully introduced ourselves yet. I'm Greg Phillips. If you're listening for the first time, I apologize for everything that's happened up to this point and everything that will follow.
Nope.
With me, that voice that you hear on the other end is Nicholas Brandenburg Duke. He is my co-host.
Why is that so difficult for you to get right? You've known me for a decade.
Nicholas.
No,
it's Walter Nicholas Brandenburg Duke.
No.
Hang on. Walter Don Nicholas Brandenburg Duke.
Hey, the fifth time's a charm.
It's not my fault you have a ridiculously long rich person's name. Get out of here.
It's not my fault you have a ridiculously short poor person's name.
Hey, that's fine. I own that. People can say my name without having to recite 34 characters. That's not very many characters, actually. Never mind that insult. Let's pretend it was something good. Now, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, we are the Hard-Traveling Fanboys, and we are continuing Walking Dead month by talking about The Walking Dead. Imagine that. Last week we talked about the video game. This week we are here to provide the counter to last year's countdown this month, which was the top 5 Walking Dead characters across all media, because now we are counting down the worst Walking Dead characters. That's right, the bottom 5 Walking Dead characters across all media, comic books, video games, television, tiddlywinks, you name it. The worst characters. And to join us, we went to our foremost Walking Dead expert here at Place to Be Nation, Pop. She joined us last year for our Walking Dead month. She's joining us this year as well. From Geek and Sassy, our good friend, Jennifer Jenny Smith.
What an introduction. Wow. I don't know if I can live up to that introduction now. But thank you for having me back anyway.
Oh, absolutely. Our pleasure. Thanks for joining us. And I'm used to having really going out of my way to introduce our wonderful guests because I have to deal with this guy so often. So, he always no-sells my fabulous introductions of him every week. So that notwithstanding, we are here to talk about the worst of the worst. Are you ready, Jenny? Are you ready to really let your hate flow through you?
I feel the hate. I'm ready. Let's hate on some bitches.
Absolutely. Now, one person who never has problems letting the hate flow through him is Nick Duke. Nick, are you ready to let the hate flow through you?
I am ready to let my hate flow, much like the Bellamy brothers once let their love flow.
They did, like a mountain stream.
I had to keep up our streak of 1980s and 70s country music references. We've had a pretty good run of those going.
A non-existent prize, ladies and gentlemen, to the first person who can pick up a Mandrell reference during the course of any of our podcasts.
Oh, Mandrell.
So, with all that being said, let's kick off our lists. And I will start us out at number 5 with a character that supplies 15 teams. Not teams. No, I'm sorry. 15 weeks.
Yes.
Fighting to the top. Woo! I am here to tell you about a character I didn't think would make my list, and it will shock and maybe even offend many in the Place to Be Nation that will be surprised by this. No. This isn't who you think it is, Nick. This is a character that even shocked me, and I went with comic book Shane. Yeah, see, listen. See, now I've got your attention. I've got your attentions, respectively, because as everyone knows.
No, Greg, I'm interested to hear your case, but I'm going to go ahead and present one of the counter arguments. He was one of the only characters that did not spend his entire existence telling Rick what a good man he was, which makes him like literally the only interesting character in the book because he doesn't act exactly the same as everybody else. And
my counter to that counter, first of all, is he's around for about 15 minutes.
That's true.
Second of all, he has no depth to him whatsoever. No. He is, to me, I put comic book Shane on here because to me he is indicative of the bad side of the comics in that just how rushed through and two-dimensional or even one-dimensional his character is throughout the course of the first volume of The Walking Dead. Now, Shane is, of course, Rick's friend, as he is on the television show. Man, I almost pulled a David with that television. But love you, David. So in the show, John Bernthal plays Shane with a level of depth and nuance, Nick's favorite word, that shows you his gradual descent into madness. That he starts out as a good guy who's got some issues that are maybe always there, but as the show goes on, as the series progresses, you see those issues come bubbling up to the surface, and you see him become less and less stable and more driven mad. Whereas in the comic, it just kind of happens. He's there and he's normal, and then he's a dick, and then he's normal, and then he's a psycho guy who's trying to kill Rick, and then he gets killed. So, I'm sorry, spoiler for those who have never read the comic. Shane dies just like he does on the show. Get over it. So
much sooner than he does in the show.
Yes, and about the time that it takes you to go to the bathroom and wipe your ass. When you get back, Shane's dead. But in that time, he manages to provide nothing of any value.
In the twinkle of an eyebrow, Shane is gone.
He adjust. Here's my memories, my recollections of Shane from the first volume. He adjusts his hat a few times. He winces at Rick. He gets really angry, and there are lines coming out of his face. Then he calms down. And then later on, he gets really angry again, and he points his gun at Rick and threatens to kill him and says he's selfish. And then Carl kills him. And that's it. And so I put him on here as a representation of all of the characters I didn't like in the book. And so he's the one that takes that because he represents the biggest missed opportunity that the show picked up and really improved upon other than that, no other characters from the comics will make my list. Like I said, Rick in the comic is a likable guy anyway, so he wasn't in danger of making the list. But Shane, didn't like him. Didn't like anything about him. So that is my number 5 entry.
I am surprised. To be honest, Greg, the comic is so far off my radar at this point. Other than going back and rereading the first volume, for Walking Dead month last year, it's been so long since I've read any of the comics that I've pushed most of it out of my mind because of how little I cared for it. So my list is going to come entirely from the show and the Telltale video game series.
Remind me, because like Nick, I've forgotten most of that, but Shane's not the baby daddy in the comic book, is he?
Oh gosh, I honestly can't even remember either.
Yeah.
I think it's left kind of vague in the comic as well, and Rick kind of eventually decides I'm just not even going to bother asking about it. So
That seems right.
Yeah, and they just kind of leave it there because Rick's like, it doesn't matter. It's not part of the plan.
Does Judith exist in the comics?
I was trying to remember that, honestly. I feel like she does.
I don't know.
I feel like she does because I think that she gets killed when they are trying to escape the prison.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. Yep.
Mm-hmm. It is uncertain. According to the Walking Dead Wikia, it is uncertain if she is the daughter of Rick or Shane and the full or half sister of Coral.
Gotcha.
However, when Judith reaches adulthood and refers to someone whose name is King as Kang, then it will become obvious that she is Rick's daughter.
Also obvious, yes. Or if she finds a fat guy to kill needlessly.
she'll be Shane's daughter.
Yes.
It's all part of my plan.
A hatred for fat people.
Is it possible that if
she grows up to find herself frequently at odds with people with large eyebrows, like if she just constantly has conflict with people with large eyebrows, then it would be a
who can blame her in that case?
You shut your filthy
Lord
mouth.
We'll revisit that.
Oh,
perhaps
you're a rat bastard. You know that. That's what you
Speaking
are.
of rat bastards, Nick, who do you have at your number 5 entry?
At my number 5 entry, I have a character that
Is it a bastard? Because that would have been an awesome transition if it is a literal bastard.
His parentage, to my knowledge, hasn't really come up on the show. But it's a character that I feel pretty confident is going to show up on your list, Greg, and possibly Jenny's as well. And notably, he is the only character on my list that is not either under the age of 18 or a woman. So here we go with Gabriel Stokes at number 5. Father Gabriel Stokes, if you will. To sit here and try to recount all the douchey, idiotic things he has done over the course of the 3 seasons he's appeared on The Walking Dead would be a podcast unto itself. But suffice it to say, there has been perhaps no character, to this point anyway, who has acted more selfishly and provided so little to the group in return than Gabriel Stokes. This is a supposed man of the cloth, who, in the wake of the zombie outbreak, locked the doors to his church and listened as his parishioners were eaten and brutally murdered outside of the church. Then he numerous times tries to screw over Rick and the group, whether it's abandoning them in a time of need or even attempting to turn them over or rat them out to the people of Alexandria as not being good people. This guy has just consistently taken the low road and the easy way out of almost every situation he's found himself in. Now, I say all that with the caveat that the writers of the show have tried so hard to redeem this character over the back half of season 7, but it's one of those things where the hole he had dug himself was like the fucking Mariana Trench or the Grand Canyon, so that shoveling a few handfuls of dirt back in there is not moving him very far up, in my opinion. He's got a long way to go before he can be fully redeemed. So at this point in time, today, Gabriel Stokes finds himself on my list of the bottom 5 Walking Dead characters.
Yeah, hard to argue against any of that.
Agreed.
Greg,
Yeah,
you all right
Gabriel. Yeah, Gabriel. Just doing a little research here. Gabriel. He's a character that, to me, did come enough. He took enough. Let me rephrase that statement. He did progress enough in the most recent season to salvage himself a little bit in my eyes. But to your point, Nick, I would argue that for a while he was gaining on my number one entry as the worst Walking Dead character. I mean, talk about a guy that provided no value at all to the group.
Other than to be utterly hateable. I mean, for the better part of 3 years, he has just been the worst. Like, it takes a lot to be the worst human being on The Walking Dead, and I feel like Gabriel was just the worst person on the show for like 3 years.
How many deaths is he indirectly responsible for?
I have no idea at this point. I mean, if we're counting off screen, I know his church wasn't that big, but you got to figure that's probably at least 30 right there before he ever meets up with anybody.
Plus Bob, plus
you mean Derek
who
Wallace?
Else? Derek? No, I mean Bob. I don't mean the kicker from the Water Boy. For God's sake,
you mean Derek Wallace? His name is Derek Wallace. I'm gonna call him Derek Wallace.
That's your one. Woo! Oh boy! All right. Well, with that being said, I think we've said our piece on Gabriel. Jenny, do you have any thoughts on Gabriel?
No, he sucks.
Succinctly stated, as always. Jenny, let's get to your number 5 selection.
Somebody else that sucks is a character from the Telltale game who I found myself just hating, and I really loved it when he got murdered brutally. But his name is Larry.
There we go.
And
Yeah.
He is he was like a retired Army guy who had a grown daughter, Lily, one of the survivors, meets up with our main character, Lee, and just proceeds to be a complete fucking douche the entire time you know him. He's never helpful. He's never, understanding. All he does is cause problems and drama and bullshit the entire time. He tries to hit on Mama St. John, defends her when they accuse her of being a cannibal. Just a source of just constant bullshit for Lee. And I was glad when he got his head bashed in.
Did you take as much enjoyment and solace in helping Kenny to drop the brick on his head as I did?
I did.
Yep.
I surely did. Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. Yes, that was he was such a dick. It was incredible what a dick he was. And one of the more satisfying deaths, though,
yes,
I would argue in that game, is being able to along with Kenny, again, crush his skull with a brick. And
I think it was a salt lick.
It was a salt lick
right.
for the cow. It was like a 30-pound salt lick. It just dropped on his fucking
That's
head.
awesome.
Salt lick and to just again literally bash his brains out or in, depending on which parlance you would like to use, to feel the gooiness of his brain matter, at least in my imagination, was very satisfying.
Trapped between 2 layers of hard surface.
Yes, viscous fluid between a salt lick
and the floor
and the concrete floor. Yeah,
that was not ugly, very, very beautiful.
Well, Greg, I don't want to throw off our order too much here. I mean, do you have more to say on Larry though?
I was going to say, and all things being considered, once he's dead, it's fine like this.
It is fine like this. I would absolutely agree.
Except for Lily, but other than that.
My thoughts on Lily, unfortunately, I could not find room to fit them on this countdown, but she was definitely considered for a time.
Yeah, I know. She should have made my list. That's my biggest missed opportunity. I should have put her on here.
But I can't give up this transition, Greg, so I'm going to go out of order here because if we're talking about characters from the Telltale series that we relished taking part in the death of, Greg, There is perhaps no moment that gave me more pleasure in that game than in episode 3, when you have the opportunity to pull the gun out and put that little fucker down. At number 4 on my list. At number 4 on my list. I'm going with Kenny Jr., also known as Duck. What a stupid fucking kid. That stupid kid with his bullshit like Batman and Robin horse shit at the beginning of episode 3 is one of the most annoying children in the history of video games that have ever been created on this or any other planet. One of the only reasons I ever went back and replayed Season 1 after I beat it the first time was to see if I could kill him on the farm somehow and save Herschel's kid instead. And I couldn't. The game forces you to keep the little fucker alive. And he does nothing but say stupid things and be annoying until he finally, mercifully, is bitten by a zombie, and you get to have the opportunity to put him down yourself to, I'm doing the air quotes here, spare his family the pain. But what it really was giving me the pleasure. And that's what it was all about. Duck, fuck him.
Oh my God. This is what had me in tears earlier today when I had to shoot Duck in the head. I was sobbing when I had to shoot Duck in the head.
I was fist pumping the entire time.
I got a little misty too, because
you know how sometimes
it's a
when
terrible
you're
choice
the game
to have to make,
and your choices are up, and you wait for like every second of the clock to tick down, and you're like, oh my God, I don't know. For me, it was, do you want to kill Duck? Yes, double yes.
I grudgingly did it because I didn't want Kenny to have to do it. But
yeah, me too.
I excitingly did it because I wanted to be the one to do it.
Good God, man.
He is the worst.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Nick?
The worst. The worst.
What is your major malfunction?
What is Duck's major malfunction? Can't he just shut up and go off in the corner? You know how. Wait a minute. Listen. On the first,
he's ill.
Listen. The first season of The Walking Dead, the television show, and the second season. You know how we never really heard Sophia speak. She knows that children are to be seen and not heard. And Duck, clearly nobody ever taught him that lesson, so I had to put him in his place. I had to put him in his place.
Sophia was practicing for her own impending death.
Whatever she was doing, she wasn't annoying the ever-living piss out of me constantly, so he had to go. He had to go, Greg.
God. But you know what? You know what?
When your own father describes you as not the brightest crayon in the box, you got to go.
That was Kenny's ignorant way of describing the ailment his son clearly had.
No, I just think he was dumb. I don't think he had an ailment.
One of my favorite things is Lee's reactions to Duck sometimes.
Yes.
Because he just gets this look on his face like, what the fuck, kid? And I tried to be nice to him. Like, I felt bad, and I tried to be nice to him. No. I let him, like, help me find the chalk or whatever, and, like, try to, like, not be a complete dick. But sometimes the default is just Lee being kind of dickish.
What a missed opportunity, though, to not give... What a missed opportunity to not give Lee the option of saying shucky ducky quack quack at some point. But hamburger. I ain't gonna have it.
I turned his brains into hamburger.
Oh my goodness. Good Lord, man. So he's number 4 on your list, is that right?
4. That is correct.
Number 4. Well, I guess I'll go now, and I will reveal that my number 4, which I didn't just have to look up on my list, but knew off the top of my head, was clearly, okay, here we go. You hinted at it earlier, Nick. Here's a little bit of controversy, and I don't care. I welcome all the controversy. Come at me, bro.
No.
Come at me, bro.
No.
Because my number 4 is that sanctimonious son of a bitch, Dale, from the TV series, not the comic. Comic book Dale is fine. TV Dale. Okay.
Comic book Dale was catching a little, you know what I mean. He was catching a little action.
Little tail.
He was.
Yeah,
good for him.
Good for comic book Dale.
Him.
He was going for the belt the way that guy at the bar the other night was, my friend.
That guy at the bar, he'd had a few.
That guy at the bar was about to have a couple, I'll put it that way.
That guy at the bar is your new hero, apparently. Because you talked about that guy at the bar repeatedly afterwards.
Listen here.
I need to hear the guy at the bar story, apparently.
The guy at the bar was about to take home a couple women, and it was impressive. I was impressed. Looking the way he looked, it was impressive.
Looking as only he can look.
That's pretty much it.
Oh, God. Anyway, that's another podcast for another time.
All right.
But for this podcast, Dale. Okay, so this sack of crap, he sits there with his judgmental, bushy eyebrows that are entities unto themselves. They could have taken up 2 slots on my list. Originally, when I put it together, number 1 was his left eyebrow and number 2 was his right eyebrow. But I decided that would be too much. So when coupled with his condescending, holier-than-thou, non-helpful personality.
To be fair, the person he was most often presenting himself to be holier than was Shane, who he was holier than. Practically everyone in season 1 and 2 was holier than freaking Shane.
He acted like that to everybody. And I'm going to give you a shining example, Nick. One that you cannot refute. One that you will not refute. And here's that example. So, okay, well, they're on the farm. Dale, he gets very, very upset at this plan that they have. And I can't even remember the details of whatever the damn situation was. Oh, it was the kid that got wounded. And they were not able to decide whether they should let him go back, even though he was clearly going to go back to a camp and clearly tell them where the farm was and clearly lead them back to the farm to take all their shit. So Dale says, we can't do this. We're civilized. We need to let him go. We need to let him go back. And everybody's like, no. And Shane's like, no, this is a bad idea. And Rick's like, well, Shane's kind of got a point. And then here's Dale. And what does Dale say? We need to put it up for a vote. How does this benefit the community? The ones that get the book are the ones who know about the money. So anyway, they go to the house and they gather every single person on the freaking show together at one time. And they take a vote. And everyone votes against Dale. And then Dale, who begged them just to have the vote and he'd go along with it, all of a sudden acts indignant and says, I won't be a part of this. You all make me sick, and storms off and presumably urinates on all their bed cases along the way. Goes off and pouts in the corner. And what happens to Dale while he's out there pouting? He gets killed. And he deserved to get killed, and I hope he burned in hell for it.
Well, let me say this about your vote, your little vote example, Greg. If voting always turned out for the best, I don't think this country would be in the shape it's in right now. Just gonna go ahead and throw that at you.
Listen at you trying to twist politics.
The point,
you know what that is, Nick? You know what that sounds a lot like to me, Nick? You know what that sounds like to me?
The point.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like fake news.
Fake news.
And I would expect as much coming from you.
Listen here. You will sit there and blindly back people who sleep with their freaking best friends' wives after abandoning them at the hospital. People like Dale, you have a major issue with one of the only decent people on the first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead, Dale.
Dale is a loser, and he died a loser's death, and he deserved to die.
That's your
worst. The 4th worst, actually. He's not even the worst. He's the 4th worst. There are 3 people worse than that sanctimonious Dale.
I hope one of them. If
go ahead.
Any justice in the world, one of them will be Shane because he was a douche.
No, Shane.
You have always
Shane made mistakes.
A blind Shane supporter.
What does Shane have to do with Dale? You are not,
because those are the 2
Dale,
characters who were most often in conflict with one another. When you talk about being judgmental and sanctimonious, most of the time, and I'll admit you have some other isolated examples, but the most frequent source of Dale conflict was Shane, was it not?
Sure, but it wasn't just Shane. It wasn't exclusively Shane. That's like saying the only reason that Cyclops is an arrogant man is because of his dealings with Wolverine.
Exclusively Shane? Was that what I said, Greg? No, I said the most frequent.
No, but you're implying it. You're heavily implying it.
No, I am outright stating the most frequent. I said what I meant.
You are launching an ad hominem attack. You are saying
doing what
this
you
thing can't be this thing because that thing is that thing.
Hearing what you want to hear as opposed to what I'm actually saying.
Fake news. Jenny, your thoughts on Dale?
Oh, Lord. I got to be the tiebreaker in this? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dale could see through Shane. He knew that Shane was plotting to try to kill Rick, and he
I
tried
like
to
where this is going.
He tried to warn Rick about it, but he was sanctimonious, and obviously they should have killed that little bitch, and so that he wouldn't come back and bring his whole camp on them. I'm gonna go with he deserved it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, Jenny, now that that's established, who's your number 4 selection?
My number 4 is. See, this was really hard because I tried to base my list on because okay, this is how my thinking in the zombie apocalypse is if you are useless and worthless and have no value to the group, then what is the point of you? So, one of these people is Enid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and she.
All I'll say is birds of a feather flock together in this regard.
Well,
I'm not surprised.
She exists to mate with Carl.
No, not even. I mean, they're not even together technically.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
You know,
he had a chance to mate with her and didn't.
No, Carl just spends all his time making goo-goo eye at her.
Oh, anyway,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I gotta admit, Nick, goo-goo eye. That's good.
But she's
because he's only got one eye. You see.
She doesn't do anything. Like literally, there's nothing that she has done that has helped anybody. I mean, sure, she's been traumatized by the loss of her parents, but whatever. Everybody's been traumatized here. But at least they're trying. Most of them are trying to like be proactive and do something helpful. Maybe the only thing that she's ever done is like look after Judith a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
she's a glorified babysitter.
Yeah, and she rode around on some roller skates that one time, and
bruised a lot,
and has resting bitch face.
That too. Gave all kinds of shit to Glenn too, and whatever. They tried to make her interesting and had that whole Glenn dynamic. Whatever, did not work. She's just useless and pointless, and maybe coming up, you know, because she's at where's she at? She's at the hilltop now with Maggie, and so maybe she'll be a babysitter to Maggie's kid. I don't know. But
I guess you could say that in the case of Enid, it is pointless to exist.
Exactly. So she's not on number 4, and it sucks that there are so many chicks that sucked on this show. And I hated to have another girl, but.
Well, perhaps that speaks to a larger issue. But I'm not one to say that. I don't know. But perhaps it does. It's not for us to say, quite frankly. That's for people far more qualified, such as at JR's BBQ, who you can hate with any thoughts or complaints about our lists. Okay, you're up next, Nick, with your number 3 selection, I guess. Or am I up next? I'm up next.
I'll let you know.
We went out of order last time. I'll go ahead and hit my number 3 up. And my number 3 is, I believe, she comes from a television show. It is a woman. And I believe we established that her name is Jadis.
Mm-hmm.
But as I put her on my list, the Trash Lady. She was introduced on the show last season. And I don't know what the trash people are like in the comics or even if they exist in the comics.
I believe that is a creation unique to the show, is what I have heard.
I think that's right.
It's a shitty one. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Listen, I thought last season was a great season of The Walking Dead show. I thought it was probably their best season in, 3 or 4 seasons.
Right.
It was awesome. It was exciting. It was action-packed. There was stuff that happened. There were interesting characters, a great villain. And then there were the trash people, led by their stupid, useless, pointless, moronic, infantile leader, Jadis, with their inexplicable talking like, I don't even know how you would describe the way that they talk. They talk
like toddlers.
Like toddlers. Yes, you have toddlers. You or one toddler anyway, and the other is about to be a toddler. And And honestly, Nick, this is no blowing smoke. Olivia talks far better than these trash people do. They don't make sense. It's just why would the zombie apocalypse cause people to revert to a childlike way of speaking and rummage through the trash and create weird stabbing constructs? I don't understand it.
Clearly, they're insane.
Well, yes, but I don't understand why. Of all the things to happen in the apocalypse, this was the hardest for me to swallow. Like even the the Latino gang that takes care of old people was easier to accept for me than the damn trash people. They're it's too stupid to talk, but they're smart enough to build these convoluted contraptions that can nearly kill Rick with zombies with spiked helmets and whatnot. It's just the worst. It is the worst. It makes no sense at all. Then they have the storyline where she wants to claim Rick's body as her own, which I don't want to see. I don't want to see Rick boink her. For God's sake, he didn't even boink the other lady, the blonde lady. So, the one that got killed that had the two annoying kids. So,
those fucking kids.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't make my list either, but they should have.
Oh.
So, Trash Lady, congratulations. You're number 3 on the worst characters of all time. There's 2 worse than you, but barely, because you suck and you're the worst part of the show. Imaginary character that doesn't exist.
But Greg, that haircut though.
That's true. Now that's a great point. That haircut is both attractive and modern, and is one that and since I work on a college campus, I've begun noticing it's catching on. It's trending. Both guys and girls alike are wearing it. Administrators are wearing it. It's sweeping the country. I think if you watch Nick, if you watch the Paul Feinbaum show on SEC Network, you'll see him sporting the look as best he can. It's just remarkable, really.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of all that, so I'm just going to move on. And I am going to go for my number 3 selection. I'm going to go back to the world of the Telltale video game and find... You want to talk about useless fucking characters. This person technically meets my I told you earlier that it was that Gabriel was going to be the only person on my list that wasn't a woman or under the age of 18, and this guy just barely comes in under the age of 18. And arguably the most useless character in the history of any Walking Dead adaptation ever is a guy by the name of Ben Paul. This is a high school student, some sort of marching band member or some such, that the group comes across in the woods and inexplicably allows to join up with him. And he proceeds for the rest of the damn game to do nothing useful, to get multiple people killed, although I got to give him bonus points. He did indirectly lead to Duck's death, so thumbs up there. But, point being, he is just an untrustworthy, useless dick of a human being. This guy steals supplies from his own people to pay off these bandits to keep them from threatening him with bodily harm, indirectly leading to the death of Lee's soon-to-be side piece. That man, Lee had been in prison before this. You know how long it had probably been since he had any action? If you go from prison straight to the zombie apocalypse, he probably hadn't been laid in like 2 years, legitimately. And he was totally about to nail Carly until Ben went and screwed everything up. But then, later on, you got Ben just moping around, playing the sullen teenager after... he's only moping because he got called out for getting people killed, which is something that you should have got called out for, you dumbass.
Yep.
So he mopes around during episode 3 and 4. You're on this high-stakes mission into the heart of, like, this overrun camp where you have all these supplies you need, and all he wants to do is sit there and mope around and feel sorry for himself. He tries to commit suicide, and for some stupid reason, I saved his dumbass, and then he winds up being seemingly responsible for the death of more people. That kid is just the whiniest, most useless person in that video game, and I'm glad he got impaled. Hope I didn't spoil anything for you, Jenny.
Little bit, but it's all right.
Now, listen, you Here's what you should have done instead of save his ass, Nick. You should have done what I did. He should have looked. He looks up at you and he shouts, "Save me!" And you should have looked down at him and you should have said, "Mom."
I should have done that, and when I went back and played it again, I did do that. But I based my carryover save off my initial playthrough. So
he is a no good son of bitch, to quote the Iron Sheik. He deserved to be humbled. He deserved to be beaten and trounced and impaled and given a painful, agonizing death. He was a loser. He was a bastard, and he didn't contribute anything to the group. He didn't add anything to the group. He should have been left behind in the beginning. Foolishly, you took him in. You thought, hey, he might be a good kid. He's not a good kid.
No.
He's a little turd in the punch bowl of life.
They should have threw him off the damn train whenever it was rolling pretty quickly. That's what I would have done.
Jenny, are you a Ben fan to this point in your gameplay?
No, I'm not, and I look forward to murdering him.
Have you finished
Very
episode
good.
4?
Not yet.
Oh, so you have 2 episodes left.
Yes.
Okay, you said 1 earlier, so that's why I was confused.
Oh, did I? Oh, I
Yes.
misspoke.
That's
My
all right.
bad.
So yeah, if you thought the duck stuff was the emotional wrecking, just wait. There are gut punches coming.
Oh, jeez. Don't tell me that.
Mm-hmm. But on the bright side, Jenny, there may or may not be a hamburger coming in there too. I'm not going to say either way. But with that being said, what was that, Nick? Your number 3?
That was my 3.
Jenny, I guess that means it's time for your 3.
Okay, my 3. Now, I'm actually surprised she hasn't made it onto you guys' list thus far, but maybe you're saving her for higher. This is Andrea.
Ooh.
You
from
know,
the TV
shockingly, I could not find a place for her on my list. She was.
I am shocked.
She
by
was
that,
the
'cause
last
Nick,
character I cut. It was her or Gabriel, and I went back and forth.
Nick ranted about Andrea quite extensively back in the day.
I did, and I maintain it, but I had to.
Mhm,
There's only
mhm.
5 spots.
Well, she, in the book, she's way better than she is on the TV show,
Yes.
but I'm going with the
I
TV
agree.
version of her. You start off feeling for her when she loses her sister, but then she kind of hooks up with Shane. She shoot Daryl at one point.
Mhm.
She is just kind of all over the place, thinking she's a badass a little bit, but not really.
But isn't, right. She acts like a badass and presents herself as one, but never really proves that to be the case until late in the series.
Right, and then she learns to shoot a little bit, and that's marginally helpful, but she doesn't want to help with any of the stuff, around the farm at that point, or, she has a little bit of a good arc there with Michonne when they eventually hook up, but, by the time the governor shows up, she starts sleeping with this psychopath, and it just all goes downhill from there. And by the time she figures out that she screwed up, it's too late. And then she just has this very anticlimactic, kind of sad death that doesn't really mean anything, much like her whole stupid life. So she was just a waste of a character.
Agreed. She was one of the worst aspects of. I guess she made it up through what was that, season 3? I guess that would have been.
I think that's right.
She was just awful. I mean, just brutal.
She was as useless in death as she was in life.
Agreed.
But that being said, I will say I think the reason that she didn't make my list is she was just indefensible in the first 2 seasons, first 2.5 seasons, first 2 3/4 seasons. I thought the last few episodes of season 3, they started working towards rehabilitating her a little bit. For me.
Well, it was obvious.
Yeah, but that doesn't make
point,
up
but
for the 2.75 seasons of suck that immediately preceded it, Greg.
That's true.
You tend to
That's
give
true.
too much weight to the tail end of a character's existence.
But Shane received 0.75 episodes worth of suck from her. So
That's true. He did. He did, and the governor received Lord knows how many episodes of Sucked from her.
Yeah. I don't know.
The real question is how many episodes of Sucked and Michonne received from her.
Ooh, interesting. I did view that, by the way, as a lover's quarrel between Michonne and
that whole
and
time
the
when they were off in the woods together. Totally. Oh yeah. I mean, that was pretty clear, in my opinion.
Do you think so, Jenny? What is your read?
Honestly, it had never occurred to me, but shockingly, now I'm kind of like, that makes.
I
a lot
have to
more
admit
sense.
that is probably the most surprising thing that's happened thus far on this podcast. Is that of the three of us, Jenny is the one to which it never occurred.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a certain common household instrument that comes to mind that I'm trying to remember the name of at the moment. I'm struggling. It's got two blades and a handle typically, and you open and close it to cut paper with. But I'm forgetting the name of it. So
I believe you're referring to two knives that are connected to one another.
That'd be it, by a bolt or a screw in the middle. So there you are.
Oh gosh almighty, what are we talking about anymore?
Terrible women and children for the most part.
Nick, you go. Give us your number 2.
Oh, we're going out of order again? All right, I'll do that.
Well, we're going back to the original order that you got out of.
No, you went first.
No, you were next. Great.
Oh, was I?
Yes.
All right. Well, then I'll go next. Let's see. Oh, yes. For my number 2, I'm going back to the video game universe.
Oh.
For a character I would argue to be even worse and more useless and more hateable and more douchey and more death-worthy than Ben.
Oh.
Who might this be, you could ask?
I don't know. I think I know where you're going, but more death-worthy and useless than Ben?
Yes.
I don't know, man.
Yes.
I don't know.
And this I'm going to explain in as spoiler-free a way as possible because I know Jenny hasn't played Season 2 of the Walking Dead game. This character's name is simply Arvo. Yes. Arvo.
Wow. Really?
Okay, let me count the ways, Nicholas.
Okay.
Yes,
I mean,
really.
he
Arvo
sucked,
is
but
a Russian kid.
Like bottom 5 character in Walking Dead history. I don't know.
Yes. Arvo.
This is you. Never mind. I don't want to say that either. Okay, never mind. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, what were you gonna say? No. What were you
I
gonna
don't
say?
want to spoil anything for Jenny, so I wasn't gonna say. But
No, don't worry about spoilers.
It is your blind attachment to certain characters that has you so down on Arvo, I would argue.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's the fact that he steals from little children. Now, can you argue that, Nick? Can you disagree with that?
Hey, man, listen. Zombie
He
apocalypse,
steals.
You gotta do what
He
you gotta
steals from children. He lies and tricks like Aaron Rodgers, the trickster quarterback. He lies and tricks the group, the centralized group, not once, but twice. And when Clementine supports him and defends him and tries to make sure that he's an upstanding citizen and he's held up in a high regard, what does he do, Nick? What does he do after all of that hard work that Clementine puts in to defend him, to make sure that the group supports him, and to show trust and belief in him? He stabs at them in the heart, just like they're Sting and he's Ric Flair. Now, are you going to defend that?
Listen, I was not an Arvo fan either. I just
no. You're coming off like an Arvite, is what you're coming off.
I'm not coming off as an Arvite. I would say. And granted, I have not played Season 2 as much as I've played Season 1. I've played Season 1 multiple times as opposed to Season 2 that I've probably only played like once or twice. My memory of it, though, is that he's only in the game for like an episode and a half. So I guess it's a quantity over quality in terms of douchebaggery argument for me, essentially.
Perhaps. But his quality of douchebaggery, so to speak, is at such a high level that it's just impossible for me to overcome. He's just one of those characters that, like, if the game were real and I could go back and change one thing in season 2, I think he might be the character that I would remove, even over Carver, because
Carver is a great character. Like,
Carver's great. Oh,
Carver is a detestable, hateable character, but he is a
Carver's the
great
best villain
character.
ever in the series.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
But I mean, if they were real, I would remove Arvo because Arvo, A, leads to a bunch of deaths. B,
yeah, Arvo is
causes
basically just there to set up that final choice you have to make in that game, I think.
right,
He's
and
just
he sets
the
a chain
means
of
to an
events
end.
up that really decimates everything and leads to things that I don't want to talk about. But anyway, Arvo, the little Russian turd, needs to be flushed, and in Soviet Russia, Greg kill Arvo. So
Well, there you are.
there you have it. Your turn, Nick.
Moving on to my number 2. Earlier in this episode, we were discussing Judith and her parentage and various other things. And I want to say right now, I want to send a big special thank you to Judith. Because without Judith, we might still have Lori Grimes walking around. So, Judith, thank you for killing your mother in childbirth. Because Lori Grimes, people, the television version. Let me qualify. The television version of Lori Grimes is just one of the most frustratingly inconsistent bitches of a character that has ever existed. In season 2, she swings wildly from Rick, Shane is crazy, and he thinks that I am his, and you need to do something about it. And then when Rick dares to speak crossly to Shane, she goes, "What the hell are you doing to Shane? What are you ostracizing him for?" And if I had been Rick, the temptation to pull out the revolver and just put her down right then and there would have been overwhelming. She is just the worst. And then she wants to mope around for the rest of the time she's on the show about Rick and her's relationship being damaged. No shit, it's damaged. You fucked his best friend. His best friend knocked you up. You told him to do something about it, and then you acted like a little bitch about it when he did do something about it. Make up your fucking mind, for God's sake.
And then goes to Shane and complains to Shane and tells Shane he needs to get away from them and leave him alone. Then complains to Shane that Shane's not spending enough time with Carl, who she told him to leave alone.
Well, to be fair, no one should spend any time with Carl, but that's a point I'll get to in a few minutes. Lori... It just becomes clear to me, after going back and looking at this list, that no matter how big of a dick Rick has become during the Rick-tatorship years, it's understandable because he had arguably the worst family situation in recorded human history, and that's the only way I know how to put it.
I'm gonna save my comments for later.
Oh,
Me too.
Yes,
Me too. With all that being said, those were powerful comments about a character in Lori Grimes who some could argue, but doesn't deserve that, because anyone that would argue that would be wrong, because in fact, she does deserve it, because she is the worst character in the history of The Walking Dead. That's right, at number 1 on my list.
Well, doesn't Jenny get to give her number 2?
Oh, I forgot. That's a great point. I thought she'd already given her number 2. You're right. Yes, Jenny, you're number 2 before I get to my number 1, which is still a mystery. You don't know who it's going to be. Jenny, you're number 2.
Well, you might not want to hear it, Greg, because she was on your list of favorites last year.
Oh, no.
But I hate Beth so much.
No!
Beth got to go.
Beth, and it's so funny because when I was reading stuff, getting ready for the podcast today, and I was reading a bunch of different lists of people who suck, and it would be almost every article said, "Poor Beth." Poor Beth is how they started out. And I said, no, there is no poor Beth. Beth sucks.
She does.
Why do people have this poor Beth syndrome?
Because I'll tell you why. Because people fell in love with the stupid teasing of a Beth and Daryl romance whenever that happened during that season, and they forgot how utterly fucking useless she was in the entire lead up to that storyline.
I suppose that's it. Oh, poor Beth, she could have got drilled by Daryl if she would have not been a fucking dumbass. But, sorry, you don't deserve Daryl Dick because you're terrible, and I'm glad you're dead.
Lord.
That's right.
And to have Maggie as a sister, and then Maggie's awesome, and then Beth just let me sing and pretend like everything's gonna be okay, or let me just sit here and hold Judith for a minute because that's all I'm good for apparently, or
But then she went to the hospital and became awesome.
No, she didn't become
didn't.
awesome. She didn't. She really didn't. She just all of a sudden got into a different scenario, but she still sucked in that scenario.
And the scenario that went absolutely nowhere, by the way. Like,
right.
That entire subplot, you're thinking, okay, this is going to lead to, a shakeup in the group. And really all that happens is they trade Beth for young Chris Rock. And that's the only thing that gets traded in the entire scenario. She's awful, Greg. And let us not forget, I know we're cross-pollinating here, but she's also directly responsible for the Bug-Eyed Bandit on The Flash. So she double sucks.
Listen, no, I'm not defending. We're not here to talk about the Bug-Eyed Bandit. I would never defend the Bug-Eyed Bandit. I would defend the actress, the young lady, and I would defend the character of Beth.
No.
Beth is a good character.
I understand why you're defending the actress. The character was useless for the vast majority of her existence.
And, she's a fine actress, but, I mean, is she, though? I mean, really? Like, what have you seen in her acting that's, like, all that great besides the obvious, I suppose, if that's your taste?
Quite frankly, that's not for me to say.
Yeah. All right. Well, I said it.
You went there. There. And you stabbed at the heart of me. Well, now, you never know, Jenny. I might have one of your favorite characters at the top of my list.
You sure don't.
It could be anyone. It could be anyone in the world of Walking Dead. But it's not anyone.
Nope.
It's one. It's the one behind 21 and 1. And I don't know what that means in this case, but it is Lori Grimes. And as Nick said, I repeat everything he said. I echo everything he said. And I add to it. Because for, how long was she on the show? 3 seasons? 4?
I think she died midway through season 4.
3.
Was it 3?
I want to say it was 3.
You're probably right.
Was it the first?
It was right when they got
they were
to
at
the prison. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't first when they got to the prison because they had to make the convoluted, Rick's convoluted plan about needing to, go through the interior of the prison for some reason that I've...
It was about mid-season.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she died with T-Dog.
We need to walk to the other
God,
side.
T-Dog made it through 3 seasons. Talk about useless. Good Lord.
Okay, this time we're going to walk to the other side of the prison. It's going to take us about 6 weeks. Let's do it. It's a good plan. Hey, there's a plague.
She died in the 4th episode of the 3rd season.
Yep. Yeah, see, so it was near the beginning of the first season. So 3rd season rather. So anyhow, so she spent 2.5 seasons almost being not just the worst character on The Walking Dead, but one of the worst characters in all of television during that span. A relentlessly bitchy, I don't even know how to describe this. Just like, she didn't have any redeeming qualities. She didn't. There was not one time where you said to yourself, or at least I said to myself, I really get why Rick married her.
Well, she was fine. I mean, she,
Yeah,
that was her one redeeming quality.
I guess.
I mean, she was.
Meh.
Little on the anorexic side, but
Right?
Well, it's the zombie apocalypse. I mean, she's not exactly like she's able to go get...
The zombie apocalypse didn't affect Otis, did it?
No. Yes, it eventually did, thanks to your boy Shane. Otis was out there.
Yeah, but he was still fat as fuck, Nick.
Otis was out there hunting the meat, so it was only fair that he took his cut first before anybody else got any.
Otis
Well,
burned.
he got his meat cut all right.
He did.
Lori had no redeeming quality. I didn't understand why Rick married her, why Shane wanted. Why did she have 2 dudes fighting over her? Granted, it's the zombie apocalypse, but it's not like there weren't other options, Well,
and the competition is Andrea and
Andrea wins that competition any day of the week. Come on now.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, when the competition is Andrea and season 1 Carol, who was too busy getting the shit kicked out of her to be useful to Shane, I mean, it's not really much else you can do here.
And it's the forbidden fruit aspect.
Right.
Because I feel like prior to the zombie apocalypse, there was some sort of
Right.
something.
Yeah, Shane had clearly had his eye on Lori for a while because he's a terrible friend and a terrible human being, I'll reiterate.
Well, in any event, the Lori just, I didn't get why they were fighting over her. I didn't get why, first of all, she's a god-awful mother. First of all, she produced Carl, who, listen, I don't have issues with Carl like some people on this panel do. I think Carl's, just an average character. He's fine. He's getting better as he ages. But no, he's not. Any issues that Carl has can be presumably directly attributable to his sorry parenting primarily from Lori. And in addition to Lori being a shit parent, she can't ever find Carl because he's always gone somewhere, and she doesn't know enough to lock him in a basement somewhere where he can never get out. Which I'm not a parent myself, but I assume that's what you do to children is you lock them away and make sure that they're away from sunlight, food, and water to teach them lessons. So she's bad at that. She's bad at wifing. She's bad at hunting and gathering, presumably. All I remember her doing in season 1 is washing clothes by the river with Carol and whining about everything.
Right, and then she gave the other women shit for not participating in the womanly aspects of the zombie apocalypse. Like, like she was trying to get them all to do
quote woman's work and whatnot.
Right, yeah.
What the hell was that?
So, just another way that you suck, Lori.
Way that you suck, Lori. And then she, Nick laid out perfectly and beautifully how much of a contradictory, hypocritical douchebag she was throughout the season 2 farm aspect, where she's guilt tripping Rick one minute, yelling at him the next minute, trying to push him away one minute, asking him why he's not around her the next minute, going off and telling Shane he needs to leave them alone forever, and then coming up to him one episode later and saying, "Why are you ostracizing Carl? You need to spend more time with him. He looks up to you."
Also,
no wonder Shane went crazy and became a villain because she drove him crazy because she's a nut job.
Also, she sends Glenn out to get her some abortion pills, and then he almost dies getting those, and then bitch don't even take them.
Yeah,
throws them up.
Yeah.
But to be fair on that note, Jenny, she did provide Glenn with the opportunity to tap that ass. So
right, but that wasn't her motivation.
No,
her motivation.
It was indirect.
Her motivation was to keep her pregnancy secret from her husband.
That's true.
So I want to leave the rest of the show to Nick, so I'm just going to say my number 1 was Lori, and I agree with both of you and everything that you said about Lori. So, because I know there's going to be an epic rant coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Do you have any other thoughts on Lori that could, from a woman's perspective?
Well, that like I said, that her little, you don't help with the cooking and cleaning around here spiel that she gave to Andrea at one point. I'm like, bitch, nuh-uh. That's no. Everything that you guys have said, anybody that's watched this show knows how bad she sucks. And, her death was really brutal. Like, honestly, as her death was the best thing she ever did. So, like...
Yes, I would agree.
So, like, she wanted to have the baby. She wanted the baby to live. And she did do everything that she could to get Judith to be born. And but then she goes and, leaves Carl to have to murder her. So that's, she could have at least pulled the trigger on herself and not make him do it. But
the one other thing I just remembered that she provided to us positive is she gave us the long-standing the meme of Rick crying and leaning over to Carl, who's also crying.
And Andrew Lincoln gave an amazing performance in that episode.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah, he killed it, and I was crying not because of her, but because of him, because of his reaction to it. But
I'd like to say I was crying because you're right, his acting was phenomenal. But I got to be honest, I was laughing. I was laughing like a hyena. I was laughing like Steve Harvey when someone gives a silly answer on the Family Feud.
That's right.
Just the laughing. And I laughed probably all that night. I went to work laughing. I got home laughing. By the weekend, I'd forgotten why I was laughing, so I watched the show again and just watched her die again, and it reminded me why I was laughing. And then I got into the acting of the performance, and I really appreciated the nuance of Andrew Lincoln's emotionality in that scene. And the other thing that Lori did, though, also, even though she had a great death, true, unfortunately, her death led to that horribly boring subplot of Rick becoming a farmer. So I could have lived without that.
Well, I think that was mostly Herschel's fault, but whatever.
Well, that's true. He should never have told Rick about the pastures. But all right. Now, in the most anticlimactic number one of all time. No drama here whatsoever, folks, but this is what the show has really been building to. This is the big build up to the ultimate challenge. We've been waiting months and months for this to happen, and finally we're going to get it. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, Nick Duke's number one selection for the worst character
over the
in
course
Walking Dead history.
Over the course of this show, Greg, for the past hour or so, we've been talking about all these terrible characters. And the only character that found her way onto all three of our lists, a unanimous selection for one of the worst characters in Walking Dead history, would be Lori Grimes. It would then be safe to say that Lori is something like the devil of The Walking Dead. But her little bastard Antichrist offspring takes home the number one spot on my list. That little fucking kid, Carl. Jesus Christ, this kid. I don't even... This kid, I know it became a joke at a certain point. Oh, Carl doesn't know how to stay in the house. Ha, 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 ha. Carl doesn't do what he's told. But it became a joke because it was fucking accurate. How many people have died or been killed or been maimed as a result of Carl just not shutting the fuck up and doing whatever the fuck he's told? In season 1, Carl is just a normal little kid. Whatever, I can take him or leave him. But then, for some reason in season 2, he just steps up the douchebaggery at such an alarming extent. It's just incredible. Whether it's wandering off into the woods alone only to get shot by Otis. That's the other thing you'll find about this kid over the course of this rant. He's fucking immortal. He can get shot in the face. He can get shot in the heart. The kid just keeps... You can't kill the motherfucker. He's like the fucking Terminator of The Walking Dead. Like, it makes no sense to me. So anyway, he gets shot in the chest with a rifle that should have killed him, but didn't for some stupid reason. So his wandering off into the forest winds up...
Because Shane went and got some herbs and spices and put on it.
The point being, him wandering off into the forest, I am blaming all of the events of Season 2 on that one stupid decision by Carl, which means he is directly or indirectly responsible for the deaths of Otis, Dale, I'm sure there are multiple others, and in the case of Dale, Here is Carl wandering off into the woods just to be a sullen little dick and, like, poking fun at a zombie who is stuck in the mud, not taking the time to actually kill the thing like he's been, like his mentor Shane has been telling them they should do the entire time. But he just winds up accidentally freeing it and leading it directly to Dale, and that's actually the walker that takes Dale down because of fucking Carl.
Good. Thank you, Carl.
No, Carl is just the worst. And then, later on, whenever Shane and Rick are having their climactic showdown, Carl fires a gunshot at Shane, because he's thinking, oh, I need to save my dad, and not realizing that there are walkers around for miles, and he winds up causing a giant fucking herd to descend upon the farm and destroy the only good place they found to the show in that point. Because again...
if he hadn't done that, would Shane have killed Rick?
I don't know, Greg, but the point being, he was told to stay in the fucking house, which he shows a continuous inability to do. He can't listen to anybody when they tell him to do anything. And so
Can I interrupt you one more time, and I'll let you go? Now, in recent weeks, you have said to me, you have decried my dislike of Macaulay Culkin's character in Home Alone for not listening to his parents.
How many
but
people?
in Carl's case,
how
you
many
hate him for
people
not
did
listening to his
Macaulay
parents.
Culkin get brutally murdered, Greg?
35.
Name them.
Bill, Susan, Quentin, Larry, Lucy, Mildred, Agnes, Quintarius, John.
The primary difference between
All right.
the example you're using and Carl here that we're talking about is Macaulay Culkin in those films also has, it's a little thing that you need to be an actor. It's called charisma, which Chandler Riggs has practically none of. No matter how long he grows out his stupid fucking douchey hair. No one gives a shit about him. He's the fucking worst. Anyway, in season 3, we flash forward, and now he decides he wants to be a little child Rambo or some horse shit that I don't fully understand, and he starts just walking around as if he's a badass all of a sudden, when he's still at that point like 11 years old. He thinks he can give orders and tell adults what to do, even though he's just a little shit. Now, granted, he eventually may or may not have been indirectly responsible for getting Laurie killed, so that's a slight check mark on his old belt. But the point being, he continues on, and I think, is it season 3 or is it season 4 where we get the goddamn pudding episode?
I think that's season 3, but I'm not 100% sure. No, 4.
No, it's 4.
Yeah, 4. Yeah.
We have to
Or
spend
5.
an entire episode of this fucking little shaggy-haired bastard sitting on a rooftop eating pudding. Who gives a shit? I would rather...
His dad, and we had to listen to, because of him existing, we had to listen to his dad lay there on a couch and go, Coral, Coral.
I would rather
45 minutes.
I would rather watch the trash people and the lesbian community from season 7 have a political summit than watch Carl eat fucking pudding ever again in my life. And they follow it up with the pudding sequel, Roller Skating, with fucking Enid, where they're just roller skating around like people want to watch that horse shit. He is the most boring, useless piece of shit character in The Walking Dead. He should have been dead multiple times over. He gets shot in the chest, he gets shot in the eye, Negan's about to shoot him, and the fucking just... God damn this kid, he can't be killed, Greg. And he pisses me off, and I'm ready for him to die.
Well, some could argue that that's a bit harsh, bit stiffsky. But
what do you expect from someone who relished shooting a mentally disabled child?
He was
in
not
the head?
mentally disabled.
No, that's right.
And let me tell you,
Nick,
if we're
Tony,
no,
Tony.
I'm not taking a timeout. If we're gonna apply a little retroactive knowledge here, Greg. I don't believe that Duck was mentally disabled because they had a legitimately mentally disabled kid in the second season, and I don't think they would have gone back to that well intentionally 2 seasons in a row. My opinion.
Tony, why do you hate children?
Because they fuck everything up, Greg. They just fuck everything up. These kids just don't know when to shut the hell up and just sit there. Just go over there in the corner and sit there. You see Clementine over there just scribbling on the ground with a piece of chalk, not talking or bothering anyone? Can't you all just be like Clementine? God
they can.
almighty.
Everyone's different. What were you like as a kid, Nick?
Thankfully, I wasn't like fucking Carl.
Well, maybe if you'd grown out hair like that, Nick, things would be different.
Negan had him, Greg. He had him in the palm of his hand for an entire episode, just teasing it. Just teasing it. He made him spaghetti, and he could have bashed the kid's brains in at any moment. At any fucking moment. And he
Now,
didn't do it.
because the fact that he didn't do that, does Negan come close to you? Like, if you're making a 15, would you put Negan on the list?
Negan has been too awesome, and Negan, unlike, and let me tell you what wipes a lot of that Carl stuff out, in the case of Negan. Negan, unlike the other people on the fucking show, sees, understands, and appreciates the value of one Dr. Eugene Porter.
Oh, brother. Now, we've just listened to a grown man advocate for the brutal killings of 2 small children over the course of this episode. Any and
I
all
regret
complaints
nothing.
you have, any and all complaints you have about this, please let us know. Please tweet us at JRsBBQ and let us know just how much you hate the fact that we're advocating for the murder of 2 children. That's a bridge too far for many. Tweet us or visit the world's loneliest website, jrsbarbq.com, and let us know how you feel, folks. Well, that's the end of our countdown. I feel like that was worth it, Jenny. I think that build-up really delivered.
I agree. That's what I came on the show for, honestly, just so I could hear it live and not have to wait for it.
Exactly. Now, we would be remiss in having a guest on and not giving them a chance to plug their material. Anybody that listens to our show know, I love nothing more than a good shilling, but not a Kurt shilling, just a good shilling. And I am here to allow you, Mrs. Smith, to promote one of the most successful shows here at Place to Be Nation Pop, Geek and Sassy. You guys are killing it, coming out with new content all the time, bringing in a slew of guests, bringing in a slew of thoughts, and now with the CW shows returning, bringing in more hot takes to the PTB and Pop channel, which is what we're always after. So how can folks listen to Geek and Sassy? Well, obviously they can go to PlayStation Nation Pop if you're listening to this, but how can people find Geek and Sassy on social media, and how can they find you on social media?
Well, I am at Jenny Cruz 2814 on Twitter, and then Geek and Sassy is at Geek and Sassy on Twitter and Instagram. And we also have a Facebook page, which Miranda has started. Unbeknownst to me, one night I discovered that we had a Facebook page, but that's Geek and Sassy on Facebook. We've had a couple of shows recently about the fall TV previews. We have a whole show just about the CW ones. And coming up, we will have a look at Stranger Things Season 2, and we will have a special guest for that show as well. And then Miranda and I are also going to be on the PTBN Halloween episode with some of the guys on the other feeds. So that will be interesting. And I think that will come out right around Halloween. So that will be something interesting to listen to. We've got some racy content coming that night, so not safe for children on that recording. But I appreciate you guys letting me come in and talk about these horrible people on The Walking Dead.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You're always welcome on the HTF. You're one of our longest running weekly episodic guests, and and of course you're always welcome to appear on here, as is Miranda if she ever wants to. I've heard word. Now I don't know if there's any truth to this, by the way. This is just rumor and innuendo.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard that some people involved in the Hard-Traveling Fanboys have appeared on Geek and Sassy, and others have not, which I take to be a value judgment on their overall value and contributions to the Place to Be Nation Pop field.
Well, let's just say that some of the Hard-Traveling Fanboys, one of them in particular, is wrapped up in all this football nonsense, and he just doesn't have any availability to come on Geek and Sassy. So
let's just say that Hard-Traveling Fanboy apologizes for not a damn thing.
I didn't think so.
Considering
the other Hard-Traveling Fanboy, whoever he may be, has no life, but has a sparkling personality.
It's not that sparkling.
And the other Hard-Traveling Fanboy is also one half of the world's greatest karaoke duo.
That's correct. That's correct.
He's got that going for him at least.
And I've come up with the next song.
I don't know. My Born to Run uncle is nipping at you guys' heels. You better be.
He was pretty good.
Better be brushing up on your skills.
Now, he was
I don't know.
good.
We had multiple requests for Man of Constant Sorrow. That's all I know.
That's right. We did. You've heard of encores? We did the very rare triple encore of one song. So
it was
doesn't happen very often,
dude.
There was no alcohol involved whatsoever.
No, none. And it was a rousing success. The whole event was. We got to hear a whistle that was the same whistle that Superman used to defeat Darkseid in Final Crisis. We got to sing George Strait songs, and
we sure did.
Whatever else we sang, I don't even remember. We should have sang an Oak Ridge Boys song.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. If we had sang an Oak Ridge Boys song, we would have fallen asleep in the middle of singing it.
You know, next, what we're gonna have to do next time is, "Baby's Got Her Blue Jeans On." I really like that song. So
yes, by country superstars
Mel McDaniel. Mel
McDaniel. That's right. Absolutely. We could even do a tribute to the late and great Tom Petty and do "Stop Dragging My Heart Around" by Stevie Nicks and Tom Petty.
Oh, that's happening.
Or the little known cover of it by the Soggy Bottom Boys. So, nevertheless, folks, you can catch Jenny on social media. You can catch Nick and I on social media. I am at gphillips8652. He is Nick Duke 87, at Nick Duke 87, that is. And we are both on Facebook. All three of us are on Facebook at the Place to Be Nation Comics Facebook page. Type it into your search browser. It'll pull it up. Join the group. We'll talk about comics. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. Well, mainly comics and wrestling, but that's what we'll talk about. We'll talk about any kind of thing you want to talk about. So, other than that, we also have the world's loneliest email addresses: Greg P at placetobenation.com, Nick D at placetobenation.com. Nick doesn't know this, but I actually checked both of our Place to Be Nation email accounts, and I found some pretty interesting offers in there. I'll just say that.
Oh, my.
So intriguing offers that may have to be taken up. Now, they do require FedExing $300 to Nigeria, but I like the potential of our advertising possibilities here. So we'll keep you all abreast of the situation. Anyway, and we'll take a break right now. When we come back on the other side, we will have for you the rundown and a special announcement. And with that being said, stay tuned to this wonderful commercial about all of the veritable heaven of podcasts right here at TTP and Pop.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, pro wrestling announcer Kevin Kelly here. I want to make sure you are all subscribed to all the great feeds here at Place to Be Nation. It's really easy to do. Just head to iTunes or your preferred podcatcher app today and search and subscribe to the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed, which, of course, includes the full archives of the Kevin Kelly Show, the Place to Be Nation pod feed, and the Pro Wrestling Only feed. Subscribe, listen, and then rate us and leave feedback today. And be sure to give Justin your true thoughts. I mean, don't hold back. After all, he is kind of a jerk. Just listen to Scott.
Place to Be Nation's JT Rosero and Chad Campbell here. We want to let you know that we have a ton of great podcasts available to you on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlayStation.com, and we offer those to you on 3 great feeds. On the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed, we bring you the Mothership, the original Place to Be podcast, as well as Main Event, Lucha Afterground, and our monthly pay-per-view reaction shows, as well as the Our Vantage Point podcast and Jeff Learns Wrestling. In addition to these full-length shows, we also deliver quick-hit pod blasts on topics old and new.
Over on the Pro Wrestling Only feed, we dive deep inside the wrestling business with a stacked army of experts leading the way. The feed features potpourri shows such as This Week in Wrestling, Greetings from Allentown, Psychology is Dead, Puro Potpourri, Stacy and Elliot's Bogus Journey, and the Military Industrial Suplex. We also have shows that focus intently on certain topics like Letters from Center Stage, Space City, and NWA Classics On Demand Adventure, Through the Years, Strong Style History, Strong Style Story, and Mount Olympus. Plus, the feed has the full archives of legendary shows like Titans of Wrestling, Where the Big Boys Play, Letters from Kayfabe, and much more. And on our popular Place to Be Nation Pop podcast feed, we offer such great shows as the Glenn Butler Podcast Hour Spectacular, Rank and File, PTBN Dadcast, Go Home in a Box, NBA team, and Lucha Undead, as well as a veritable podcast heaven for comics fans with the Hard-Traveling Fanboys, Seller's Points, Todd Weber's Conversation, Geek and Sassy, and Imaginary Stories podcasts.
You can find all of these current shows plus archives of our past podcasts, including The Kevin Kelly Show, as well by subscribing to all of our feeds on iTunes. And while there, be sure to rate and leave feedback as well. All of these shows, plus others, available on PlaceToBeNation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus in-depth stretch projects and more. Be sure to support our site by using PlaceToBeNation.com/Amazon when shopping online, and download our free PTB Vintage Vault Refresh ebooks via the links on our site. We also want to thank our friends at Bonehead's Wing Bar in West Warwick, Rhode Island, and Fall River, Massachusetts, TheHistoryOfWrestling.com, and Scott Keats' Blog of Doom. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as well. PlaceToBeNation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Welcome back to the Hard-Traveling Fanboys. Woo! We're here to bring to you now, in our very, very abbreviated edition of this part of the show, we're not going to have reading and watching. We haven't been reading anything. There hasn't been anything to watch yet, although there will be this week. So next week's show will have an extended watching as we review all of the week's premieres of the CW DC shows. But for now, we're just going to do your weekly look at the news and notes of the comic book world, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to bring to you the rundown. You know, to start things off, Nick, I'm going to let you introduce this first one because I'm just going to hiccup first, and then I'm going to lay out, and I'm going to...
You've been sipping from the old brown jug marked with the triple X's, haven't you?
I thought it was safe.
Yep.
Gosh. That notwithstanding, I am going to react to this first news item. Nick, I'm going to let you tee it up.
Absolutely. So recently, I believe actually during the New York Comic-Con of the past week, it was announced that Marvel would be publishing a Soyton miniseries based on a Soyton concept from a couple months ago that I know Greg was a huge fan of. And that, of course, is the Wolverine Hulk hybrid, Weapon H, will be getting his own miniseries here coming up here in 2018. Apparently, it's going to start in March of 2018. Marvel editor Nick Lowe described it, and I quote, as the most 8-year-old idea ever. Greg, your thoughts?
Hamburger ain't gonna happen. There's not much I can add to that, honestly. Ill-conceived idea, ill-conceived concept, and will be an ill-received title. No interest, nothing.
Maybe they'll just go, ultra over the top with it, like just ridiculously cheesy. Like that would there could be some potential in that, right?
More ridiculously cheesy than a title called Totally Awesome Hulk?
Yes, more ridiculously cheesy than that.
Well, perhaps you're willing to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, I'm not going to read it. I'm just saying, Greg. Let's find the positive in everything.
You're just playing the Feinbaum's advocate.
You listen here. The man may be a troll, but he's not the devil.
Mama said Feinbaum the devil.
Mama said, whoop.
It's a 15-team race to the top.
15 week
team. Who gives a shit?
Well, there are only 14 teams in the conference, Greg.
Well, quite frankly, for now, the way things are going, they might have to add a new team in. Take the place of insert team here that I'm trolling this given week.
Anyway, moving on.
Well, there's that. And speaking of hamburger, the Gambit Project, the Gambit Movie Project, also a Marvel-related property, although this is not by Marvel Studios. This is by Fox Movie Studios. Has been in somewhat of a limbo, Nick, fair to say. And now we've got a new news item to discuss about this Gambit movie that just seems to have new wrinkles added to it all the time. And that wrinkle is that Pirates of the Caribbean director Gore Verbinski, easy for me to say. Let me rephrase. 20th Century Fox is in discussions with Pirates of the Caribbean director Gore Verbinski to direct the Gambit film, according to Deadline. If hired, Verbinski would be the third director attached to this project. Now, Verbinski has a storied history in films. He did direct the first three Pirates of the Caribbean films. He did direct 2016's A Cure for Wellness, which I have not seen and will not see most likely. And he has also directed Caribbean Cule Carlito. Nick, your thoughts on this news item?
I have good Lord. I have a great deal of interest in Gore Verbinski directing a Gambit film. I have not as much interest in Gore Verbinski directing a Gambit film starring Channing Tatum.
Oh, there you go with that again. Your irrational, stuck-in-the-mud dislike of Channing Tatum.
If I'm stuck in the mud, I'm going to stay right here where it's nice and cool.
You just get these angry notions towards actors, and you hold it against them no matter what they do the rest of their careers.
I could think of some people who you might have such a feeling about.
This isn't about me.
Certain individuals who may or may not have starred in certain films with Mr. Tatum at one point or another.
Not for me to say, Nick.
Not for me to say either.
Gore Verbinski, ladies and gentlemen. Perhaps he should apply for Jim McElwain's job. Well, Gore Verbinski and Gambit, that could be a project that could get off the ground, but I think both of us, as excited as we may be for a Gambit film, would be much more excited about another film that we're going to talk about in just a moment. But before we get to that, we've got an announcement about the publishing firm that created that title that we're going to discuss later. And by publishing firm, I mean imprint. An imprint of DC Comics known as Vertigo. Arguably the most creatively influential imprint, perhaps, in the history of comics, some might say. Well, Vertigo, which housed such luminary titles as Preacher, Why the Last Man, DMZ, and others, is coming back. According to DC at the New York Comic Con, the Vertigo imprint will be relaunching its entire line in August 2018 under the care of new executive editor Mark Doyle, who famously edited the Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo Batman run. And this will be to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the imprint. So with Vertigo coming back, look for an influx of creative new titles to come out. Some A-list creators, I'm assuming, will be attached. and some people cutting their teeth in the industry that will probably be the A-listers of the future. Your thoughts on this, Nick?
No, it sounds awesome. Of course, the key is going to be having great concepts that people want to buy. I mean, that's, you have to assume that with Vertigo, a lot of these people, not always, but if you're really doing it in the spirit of the original line, it's going to be some moderately known names, but a lot of names that haven't quite been made yet. So you got to have strong concepts, you got to have strong editorial, and you have to have a lot of support behind it from a larger publishing standpoint. DC's really got to get behind this. They have the line will not be relaunching until August of 2018 to coincide with the original, the 25-year anniversary. So they've got almost a year to get their house in order, and hopefully this will be a big success. Vertigo, a successful Vertigo is something that DC has been missing for a long time, in my opinion.
Well, speaking of Vertigo, one of the most famous Vertigo titles of them all, one of the best Vertigo titles of them all, and frankly, one of the best comics of the last 25 years was Why the Last Man. This is a book that we've talked about actually back when in our days of doing the column by Brian K. Vaughan and Pia Guerra, and it's a book that made a big imprint on me in particular, and also impressed you quite a bit. I think both of us now have read the entire run. It's a modern classic. Well, FX is working on an adaptation of Why the Last Man, and one actor in particular has expressed interest in playing the lead character in the show, which would be the character of Yorick. That would be Elijah Wood, of all people. And the Lord of the Rings star said about this role, quote, first of all, he was asked what his dream comic book or superhero role would be. His answer, quote, Why the Last Man? When is that going to get made? It's such a great comic series. Amazing. End quote. He told that to Screen Rant. Now, FX is currently developing Why for TV with showrunner Michael Green based on the series. Of course, Elijah Wood does have a history with comic book adaptation, mainly and most notably Sin City. Nick, I don't know about you, but I am a huge Why the Last Man fan. And I never would have thought about Elijah Wood, but the more I think about this, the more I kind of love it. What do you think on this?
Yeah, I'm absolutely 100% in favor of this. It's a much better fantasy casting than the Shia LaBeouf rumor that was floating around out there many years ago whenever it was rumored to be getting a film adaptation as opposed to a television show. But, yeah, I'm absolutely for this. And, the thing is, at first glance, you would say Elijah Wood, would he do it? But then he did an FX series called Wilfred. So he has an history with the network. He doesn't view himself as being above these types of television roles anymore. I think this is a great fit. It probably won't happen, but I think it should.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm really excited about the series in general, but Elijah Wood would be tremendous casting, and would almost be good enough to make me go, whoop! Now let's move on to the company that owns Vertigo, and that's DC as a whole. And they have got a classic series that's about to be remastered and re-released in high definition, and that is the iconic. And it's almost hard to even do this series justice with adjectives, but Batman, the animated series, is finally getting a Blu-ray remastered re-release. This, of course, became official during New York Comic-Con, and the DC PR representative, Gary Miernier, made the announcement while giving away a DVD box set of Batman, the animated series, saying that it would be the last time Warner Brothers would be giving it away due to the Blu-ray edition coming. That's according to Newsarama. We don't know if it will be a large box set of all 85 episodes or if it will be released in individual volumes. My speculation would be they could condense it down pretty significantly from what the DVD sets were. But this is super exciting news. It will finally give me an excuse to upgrade my collection and finish my collection, because I never did finish my Batman animated series collection. I only got the first 2 volumes. So, Nick, this is pretty exciting. Even though remastering on an old cartoon is not going to make that big of a difference, it's still pretty exciting, I think.
Well, I mean, it will make some level of difference. It'll look a little bit better in terms of the widescreen format. You'll have some of the fuzziness around the lines that'll look a little bit sharper. So there will be some visual differences, especially as television technology continues to advance. So, but my hope is that we get a new bevy of special features. I don't want a straight port of the old DVD sets. I'm hoping we'll get some more retrospectives, maybe some more documentaries, some interviews with the cast and crew, those sorts of things that would, provide some added value for those of us who already own the entire series on DVD and provide an incentive to upgrade.
Absolutely. Well, as if that piece of animated classic isn't enough, another animated classic is getting ready to go to the big screen. That's right. Coming soon to a theater near you is a motion picture titled Teen Titans Go to the movies. And this is the first theatrical feature-length film about Teen Titans Go. It's coming out July 27th, 2018. Nick, kids love Teen Titans Go. I know you're a big fan of it, too. How many tickets are you going to buy opening weekend for this?
My hope is that I will be able to get away with buying 0. I have intentionally steered my daughters away from Teen Titans Go at every opportunity in favor of things that are quite frankly better. But I am glad that there is an audience for such things. I suppose it's better to be introduced to, some version of these characters than no version at all. And I'm glad that this seems to be a money-making opportunity for DC. Here's hoping that it does well. Yeah.
Stirring thoughts.
Teen Titans Go is not my preferred take on the Teen Titans. I thought they had a very good foundation built with the original Teen Titans show and then turned it into Teen Titans Go for some reason. And admittedly, I still harbor some resentment towards Teen Titans Go for being the show that even, albeit unofficially, seems to have replaced Young Justice in the Cartoon Network lineup. So, fuck the Cartoon Network.
Yes, I will agree with you on that. As always, fuck the Cartoon Network. Now, that can only mean, as we've bridged our topics, that we have come to everyone's favorite part of the rundown, the DCEU Corner.
DCEU Corner.
And this week we have just one thing to talk about from the DCEU Corner. That is the latest release in the trailers for the new Justice League film. We got a brand new trailer that dropped over the weekend while we were indisposed at a friend's wedding, and we got a chance to look at the trailer. I'm sure you did as well, Nick. I did.
Yes, I did.
And saw the trailer. So I'll let you start off on this one. What were your thoughts on the new Justice League trailer?
Once again, I thought it was okay. I actually think it was probably the worst of the trailers that have been released for the film thus far. Mainly for, I still have major concerns about the CGI. I think the Cyborg CGI looked a lot better in this one, but every time they showed a clip of what would seem to be the film's climactic action sequence, that being the battle set against the Red Skies, the whole thing just looks so terribly green screened that it looks like a scene from Star Wars Episode 3 is the best way I was able to describe it. So obviously green screen that it kind of takes you out of looking at the trailer. Also, every time they let Ezra Miller speak as the Flash, I grow more and more concerned that I am just going to wind up hating their interpretation of the Flash. I have seen very little from that character thus far to give me any kind of faith that they're going to wind up doing him any sort of justice. So, Wonder Woman looks great, and I think some of the color palette choices seem to have been brightened up a little bit. I know that's been a complaint for a lot of people from the first 2 Zack Snyder films in the DCEU. So, hard to say at this point what's going to become of all this, but I I continue to have this not so peaceful, uneasy feeling about Justice League.
Twisting the words of the late great Glenn Fry. But I agree. I have to agree. I think our takes are very similar on it. You know, I thought, like you did, I thought the color was much better in this trailer. I liked the fact that I could actually see what was going on. However, the issues that bug me about this are still there, and in some cases, unfortunately, are reinforced, because I think both of us have had concerns about the CGI, the overly CGI nature of what looks like a lot of the film. And let us be clear, almost any superhero movie in 2017 is going to be loaded with CGI. Here's the difference. The Marvel movies, the Fox movies, for the most part, look really good with their CGI. Batman vs. Superman had its moments where it didn't, and moments where it did. So far, in the trailers for this, not so great. The scenes where they're flying through the red sky, I thought did not look good at all. I thought the action sequences at times in the trailer looked really fake, and like you said, green screens. And I thought to myself, gosh, I hope they can fix this by November. And then I realized the movie's a month out. They're not going to fix it.
Less than a month at this point, right? Or wait, no, it is the second of the releases. I believe it comes out on the 18th. So yeah.
So I highly doubt there's going to be any more CGI tweaks made from what we've seen, and it not good.
No, because you got to think they're probably having their world premiere here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. A lot of films also premiere early over in the UK, so I don't know when a final cut has to be, sent to theaters, but you are rapidly approaching that deadline, and I don't know how much more they can improve.
I also share your concerns about the Flash. I was nothing that happened in this trailer made me feel any better about the Flash. And we've talked about the concern that this movie could end up being at odds with itself in the differences between Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon. Well, I think maybe it's just me, but I feel like the trailer was even at odds with itself, this one. Because I thought, and maybe I'm in the minority of people that hated Man of Steel, I guess, but I thought the stuff at the beginning of the trailer was by far the best. With Superman and Lois, I thought all of that stuff was great. To the point where when they were showing that stuff at the beginning, I was like, man, this is so much more impactful than I was expecting from this trailer. And then it kind of turns into like this group, team kind of, Avengers-like kind of deal. And which is fine, but again, I thought the stuff at the beginning of the trailer was really good, but if that's not going to be the tone of the movie, then why set it up that way? I don't know.
I think because Superman had been, absent from all the clips and trailers released thus far, and they wanted to get, kind of show to the casual audience, hey, Superman still is in this film.
But without showing him back from the dead.
Right. Yeah, kind of get to have their cake and eat it too. So, yeah, I agree. The Superman stuff was great, but then they kind of went into generic action trailer mode. And
right. That's what I'm getting at. And it's, the Superman stuff looked good. Wonder Woman looks good as always. I still think Aquaman's going to be great, even though this wasn't his best trailer. But yeah, I don't want to come off like a spoil sport or anything, but I've just got so many worries about this. And maybe it's a situation, Nick, where we're going to get our expectations so low that we'll come out of the theater being, overly high on the film. Who knows?
That is the best case scenario at this point, I think.
Yes, I agree. Well, with that, folks, we've got to bring an end to another edition of The Rundown. And if you have any thoughts about these issues, feel free to contact us. In the meantime, we do have another edition next week coming your way in our Walking Dead month. And next week, our plan is to look at another volume of the Walking Dead comic book series. Now, we pretty well, I wouldn't say ripped to shreds, but I would say that we had our issues with Volume 1 that we reviewed last year. We'll have to see if we change our minds on this one, Nick.
Yeah, I don't foresee us changing our minds, but maybe. We got to give it. We're gonna give it another shot and just see what happens.
The most important thing is I have to find out via the other characters whether Rick is a good man or a very good man.
That's right. Those are the only two choices.
So we will be getting to that. And then, of course, the last episode of the month is going to be our review of the season premiere of The Walking Dead. Looking forward to that one. We'll be giving you hot takes just in time for the new season. And everyone loves a hot take, Nick.
Absolutely.
Nick, what do we have coming to people's way in November?
Oh, in November, we've got a couple of special editions as we're going to be taking feature-length looks, special full-length reviews of both Thor Ragnarok and Justice League. And we'll also have a little content tied into those. We're going to be taking a very special long book hunt into the Thor mythos to learn Greg up on some Walt Simonson Thor. The week prior to the week after, I should say, Thor Ragnarok's release. And then for Justice League, I believe we've got a countdown of either, I think we're going to have to decide, Greg, either our top 5 Justice League creative teams or our top 5 single issues of the Jeff Johns Justice League New 52 run.
We'll talk about it amongst ourselves and come to a conclusion. And, of course, in December, we're going to be dedicating the entire month to 90s gimmick stand-up comedians. And, those include Alonzo Hamburger Jones, of course. But as we get ready to depart, Nick, unless you have any closing words,
I don't.
I'd like to leave the audience with one last thought before we leave for this week. That thought is, I suck a quack quack.
Fanboys. Fanboys.